Resolution 12006, a resolution requests that Governor Lee be, by written notice, inform the resettlement agencies which maintain offices and operations in Tennessee that they may not place arriving refugees in non-consenting counties. Motion by Commissioner Hendrickson, second by Commissioner Meadows. Commissioner Hendrickson.
I seen what Governor Lee is planning on doing, and I've had a lot of people here tonight say that they're scared, and it has nothing to do with that. I believe in taking care of my family first. I think it's 1 Timothy says, a man needs to take care of his home. And I think us as elected officials need to take care of our community. And we have children that are going to school and going home from school hungry. They're home on the weekend hungry. We have vets living under bridges, other homeless people, and elderly that are trying to figure out each month how much food they can buy and still on medication. And I believe we need to take care of them first. And so until we have anybody that's not hungry and not homeless and have to worry about their medication, then I believe we need to take care of them first, and that's all I have.
Commissioner Meadows, you have the second.
I agree in a lot of ways with Mr. Hendrickson. I'm not scared of immigrants, and I think the right way that they're allowed in is really good. But I look at just the economic side of it, and we have homelessness here, we have hunger, we have medical needs, inadequate school facilities, overcrowded jail. We have our own problems, and I just don't see that we honestly can afford any more stresses on our finances than what we have right now. And I think we need to get a better handle on what we have going on here before we can take on much more. That's all it boils down to.
Commissioner Gannon.
Yes, I appreciate everybody who came. There's a statement made early. Wish more folks would come to the commission meetings and speak. It really helps us as commissioners to know what people feel and what they think and how they believe. And it helps me. I don't know if it helps other folks, but it certainly is a help to me. As I listen to some of this, and I have read what Governor Lee has said, and early on I appreciate the folks who gave definitions. I went and looked up definitions of refugees and immigrants and legal aliens and those who seek an asylum. I looked all those definitions up. And if you look up the definition of a refugee, it is someone who is seeking protection. It's someone who cannot protect themselves. I know that's not popular, and believe me, I understand. I mean, right now, we just gone through a crisis with Iran. And tonight, I read on the news earlier today that the police in Iran is shooting citizens because they are refusing to stone on American flags. It isn't the citizens of that country that hates us, it's the leaders of that country that hates us. We're a free country. Every man and woman in this world seeks one thing: to be free. I mean, that's why we have the United States, is because they seek freedom. And so, in saying that, I don't know if anybody here knows a gentleman by the name of Gerhard Heinz. He's a German. In the early 40s, during the Second War, we had 11 German POW camps in the state of Tennessee. Several was in East Tennessee, one's in Crossville. Some of that still remains today. In the state of Tennessee, during the Second War, we hated the Nazis. We feared the Nazis. We hated the Nazis. We wanted every Nazi dead because they hated us and they wanted to take over the world. And they wanted to destroy us, and they wanted to make us like them. Evil did not prevail. Good prevailed. The Lord blessed us. Let me just clarify that. But anyway, they had camps. those prisoners, when the war was over, they really didn't want to go back to Germany. There were several of those prisoners, several of them, who filed for refugee status, and some are still there. One went back to his country in Germany, was there for 5 years, and while he was there, he applied for citizenship for the United States. He said when he came back to the United States, he was granted it. He was granted it. He said, "I am home." He was home. He spent most of his life in the United States. He resided in Crossville. He was an outstanding citizen. Now, I know they are evil people that do evil things. I mean, they are good people that do bad things. So they are evil people who do evil things, and they are people who seek to kill us and destroy our democracy, and wants the United States destroyed. But a refugee is someone who is being oppressed for religious or political views, not because they want to make us a Muslim. The Nazis, I don't know if the Nazis wanted to make everybody a Nazi. I don't really know. Maybe in the 40s, maybe our fathers and our grandfathers and our grandfathers' grandfathers thought we was chosen to be Nazis. But we're not. So, I support Governor Lee. I do. I don't believe in illegal aliens. I think that you know, if you want to be an American, you should apply. You know, we need people. We need people. But it has to be done the right way. And I think those who are seeking refugees are seeking it the right way. That is a process that they are willing to go through to be citizens of the United States. It's a process. It's not illegal. It is a legal process, a federal law that they follow, mandated, that they will go through to become citizens of the United States. So it's not an illegal act. They're not illegal immigrants. They're not illegal aliens. They're not climbing walls. They're not swimming rivers. They are coming over here sponsored and ready. So I apologize if I said too much, and I don't want to offend those who oppose this. I don't, but we all have a right to how we feel. That's what makes us America. And so that's how I feel. Thank you.
Commissioner Berry.
Mr. Lefevre, if we're only talking about the federal program now, right? We're not talking about if a church wants to sponsor 8 or 10 families to bring them in, that wouldn't come under this one?
In the early 1980s, Congress passed a refugee assistance statute that's codified in the United States Code. And basically what it did was establish a federal program to relocate refugees. And this statute basically says that in operating this program, the federal government can place these refugees wherever the federal government wants to. That's the law of the land. On September 26 of 2019, President Trump adopted an executive order that basically says that in his administration's application of this federal refugee relocation program, his administration will not place refugees anywhere where the state does not consent and where the local government does not consent. So, under this executive order, the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Health and Human Services in operating this program place refugees anywhere where the local community does not consent. Now, it just applies to the federal program. It doesn't apply to any private program that a church or a citizen may.
So in this case, Governor Lee is saying on behalf of Tennesseans that he will allow the refugee program.
But under this executive order that the president signed, you have to have both the consent of the state and the locality.
Both of those.
Both of them.
So in essence then, our resolution is of no value. It's voided because if we don't, we would have to vote to take them, right? Not to keep them out, to take them.
Under the executive order, the way that it is written, and I'll read this to you. It says, in particular, the process shall provide that if either a state or a locality has not provided consent to receive refugees under the program, then refugees should not be resettled within that state or locality unless the Secretary of State concludes, following consultation with the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Secretary of Homeland Security, that failing to resettle refugees within that state or locality would be inconsistent with the policies and strategies established under the federal statute that I just told you. So basically, the intent of this is to require both the state and the locality to consent. Now, I can't, I'm not going to say that your resolution is of no effect because your resolution makes a statement on behalf of your body. But I can tell you that first of all, your resolution has no effect on federal law. And it's a policy statement. And the intent of the executive order that Trump signed on September 26, 2019 is to not place refugees under this federal program in a locality that does not consent to refugees. So your resolution, if you adopt it, you're making a statement that you're not consenting. So you're putting that on the record and you're making a policy statement as to how this body feels about this particular program.
But the only binding resolution would be for us to vote to accept them, which means then that they can send refugees to us under the federal program, because the state already has under Governor Lee.
Well, like I say, you're making a statement that there's, under this executive order, there are two requirements. That the state agrees to accept and that the locality agrees to accept, unless the Secretary of State determines that he needs to place them here anyway, which is consistent with.
Let me ask it another way. So as long as we don't vote to accept them, then we are within federal guidelines of not.
As long as you don't vote to accept them, then you're making a statement in accordance with Trump's September executive order that this locality does not want. Now, having said that, there is a loophole under this executive order that says that if the Secretary of State determines that he needs to place them here, then he can still place them here because you have a federal statute that says that he can place them here anyway. So, but if you adopt this resolution, then you are making it known that you're not consenting to the program being implemented.
I guess I just hate to see again, for something that really, we don't really have to get involved in. You know, I would suggest that we wait until we have to make a vote, a meaningful vote, that keeps us in tune with the law, other than becoming a vote that has no consequence to it, other than just pretty much saying that we are not a body that's willing to accept some folks. I certainly don't want us to be in a position of being a sanctuary county, but I think all of these things that we have control, especially if we have the vote until, because I think there are churches that sponsor these refugees. There are individuals who bring them into their homes, and this might deter some of them from wanting to do that. And I guess I concur with Commissioner again. I hope we're better people than that.
Just out of curiosity, how many people has read the full resolution? Just audience too.
What is it?
How many people has read the full resolution
Full resolution.
as submitted in the paper? Is it just the newspaper? Well, right quick, just as a chance of being shot here, I want to read the resolution so everybody knows. We've all spoke which way, and I'm not going to take an issue, but I think it's important that we read the resolution. Be it resolved that Roane County does not want to be forced into participating in the federal refugee settlement program due to either Governor Lee's consent and/or being with the permissible placement radius of resettlement agency office. Be it further resolved that Roane County requests that Governor Lee retract his consent for initial resettlement in Tennessee for both 1 year period of time as stated in his letter and/or actual consent period required by funding notice. Be it further resolved, Roane County requests that in the event Governor Lee does not retract his consent for initial refugee resettlement, that Governor Lee submit a revised letter to consent to the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally and House Speaker Cameron Sexton exempting non-consenting counties from forced participation in the initial resettlement of refugees in Tennessee. Be it further resolved that Roane County requests that Governor Lee, by written notice, inform the resettlement agencies which maintain offices and operation in Tennessee that it may not place arriving refugees in non-consenting counties. I just wanted to read that to make sure everybody knew exactly what the resolution it was voting on. Mr. Wilson.
Well, echoing what Commissioner Berry was saying, I think, are we not, and even saying just like that, what he just got through saying, are we still, is this even needed? I know that you can make a voice, but are we starting to, is this going to make any change if the state secretary, if he can still trump us and do whatever he wants in that need, and we're not under imminent threat at this point, are we making a viable statement that is needed?
Well, you're making a policy statement, and your office deals with policy. I don't deal with policy. I just deal with law. And legally, under this executive order, you've got the right, when the time comes, to not consent. As to whether or not you want to make a policy statement with this resolution, that is in your prerogative, not mine. But in explaining the law to you, under this executive order, if there is an intent to place people in this program in Roane County.
But we would still have to say yes, even though we're making a statement, we still have to say yes.
The county would still have the right, regardless of what the outcome of this vote tonight, to consent or to say no. Under this executive order, until this executive order is changed, don't change the law that Congress passed. It just states how the Trump administration wants to implement the law that Congress has already passed. And under the executive order, if Roane County is intended to become a part of the program, then under the executive order, you would have the opportunity to say, no, we don't want to be part of the program.
Nothing further.
Commissioner Hoods.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm going to be brief. One of the things I hadn't heard here tonight, and is close and dear to my heart, is their homeless. They're veterans that are living on the street. I haven't heard anything how we're going to combat that problem. Not only here in our county, but Knox County, Loudoun County, all the counties surrounding us. And it's not that I'm against anyone coming to this country. That's how our country was founded. But I think we have a moral obligation to those that are in our back door. And we never hear anything about that. It's even got to the point that it has consumed our larger cities. I'd like to echo something else that I heard tonight, is our elder, those that are on fixed income, those that may not have degrees, that they work those labor jobs at minimum wage, that come down to the point that they wanted to retire. And the Social Security was so minute. See, the Lord's blessed me, and I didn't make a lot of money. I had a modest salary. The Lord blessed me to where I could help my mother. If not, she couldn't afford the medicines that it took her to live for month after month. And the good Lord saw fit to take her home in 2017. So, as biblical as I am, and as biblical as some of you all may be, our charity begins at home. And when we address the issues of what's in our back door, then we are able to grow and stretch our boundaries and help those that are seeking asylum in the United States. And with that, I'll conclude my remarks.
Commissioner Cunningham.
I'd like to point out what Ms. Paris said when she got up to speak about people looking at Roane County, people, their consideration of living here, why they want to live here, why they don't want to live here. Do we really want a reputation as, well, we don't want outsiders in here, we don't want to help these people? And the definition of the refugee, and of the 480, according to the governor's report, of accepted refugees in Tennessee that were resettled here, more than half of them were from the Congo. They were escaping, they were coming here because they were being raped and murdered and just all those other things. And yes, we have to take care of what we have here at home. But we've had a lifetime to do that, and generations to do that, and it's still here. they're still homeless, and they're still poor, and we still are trying to help them. But these people that are escaping and getting away from a tyranny that we can't even understand, do we really want to put that out there and say that, well, you know, we got to take care of our own first, and 200 years from now, we might have that problem solved, and then we'll take those other people in. And like I said, there's people, I've had phone calls all day from people who said, don't support that resolution. I'd take that refugee family in my home. We're not asking the county to support them. These are people that organizations will support, churches will support. And we're sending our troops overseas to help them anyway. So why not help the ones that are getting beat up? If they want to come over here, and these are vetted people. These are not illegals. I think it's a reputation thing that we need to really think about what this person. Thank you.
Commissioner Hister.
March of 2017, Tennessee filed a lawsuit against the federal government on the Refugee Act of 1980, and it's still pending. Where that's at, and they were seeking to repeal the Code of Federal Regulation 45-400.301. So we still don't know where that's at, but, and I'd be curious for, there's more education to be done about this, but let me just tell you where I'm at on this. And I appreciate everybody that came here and spoke for it, against it, either one. But man, I've had the unique privilege and opportunity to be in 20 foreign countries. A lot of them third world countries. One of the last third world countries I was in, I had to go to an orphanage of all things. Escort some medical personnel down there to care for these 300 or 400 kids in that orphanage. And you know, I had to wear my sunglasses the whole time I was in that combat. If some of those people are part of that refugee, then bring them over. The children affected by it. I still follow a missionary today that's over there in Iraq, in Syria, today, trying to get kids into an orphanage, into a shelter, trying to get them refugee status. So I support that. And our resolution has no power whatsoever to take away or add to the federal government. Roane County cannot impose its will on the Secretary of State. It just ain't gonna happen. And we ain't gonna do it on the state of Tennessee either. So this would be a good time to do nothing, say nothing, and take no action. But I'm gonna take an action today, and I'm gonna vote against this. I just don't support it in my heart.
Commissioner Bell.
Well, you stole my words. That was as good as you can put it. Just a couple of months ago, I had you could say, a refugee from Nicaragua where they had overthrown the state house for 2 or 3 months. You know, this is not binding. It can be overthrown. And I feel that we're sending a message if we do this to the man that could possibly be funding something here, grant funding something here in Roane County. We send something, and we don't even know what he's proposing. We don't even know how they're going to dissect what his refugee plan is in the state of Tennessee. And the session starts tomorrow, right? Yes. They haven't even started. We don't even know what Tennessee's proposing. We don't even know what the governor wants to do with his. I think he's ready. If we take action, all we're doing is sending a message that we're not going to stand behind when we don't have to send that message right now. If there was something pending to hurt Roane County or its citizens, we still have the chance to put something up. But I haven't been that many countries. It's awesome. I hope to get that many countries, but I've been Central stand up and do it. At the end of the day, that's what's special with our church and our community. We gotta come together as people and help these people, these homeless people. You know, government's not gonna do it. We gotta do it as people. But I don't think I can support this today either. That's all I've got.
Commissioner Moore.
I've been, pretty happy, so I'm over Southeast Asia, it's been about 50 years. I think we have a tendency to get what we see on TV and immigration and a caravan and all of that we see out there on TV. I think these people are coming in. I have ancestors that understood what immigration was about. They were Native American. And how did that work out, okay? Just say it, okay? A few other people came, and the next thing you know, we're in Oklahoma somewhere on reservation. So that immigration worked out real good. But refugees still coming through the system are still able to come. That's not a problem about the government or whatever. I don't have a problem. I like my president. I'll be honest with you. And I ain't ashamed to stand up and tell him. Not many people will, but I will. You know, I'm old enough, I can do that. I've got a backbone to stand up here in front of you and tell him, and be glad of it. I support missionaries and people in other countries and all that. And many of you give them an acre of your property when they come in here. It'd be a little different giving somebody else's stuff away, okay? They always tend to do that. They spend somebody else's money pretty easy. We don't do too well when it comes to our own. Just saying. I have no problem voting with it. I think at some point now, just whether it's worth the paper it's written on, it doesn't matter. If you don't tell somebody, we let a lady in Texas in the late 60s and early 70s fill our jail up over here. That was Miss Madeline Mary O'Hara. Take the Bible and prayer out of school. Now we're spending $25 million to build a jail to put them in 40-something years later. Nobody said nothing. Or we'll offend somebody. What happened? We offended now when you charge them over here, keep spending, and 5 more years you're going to build another jail for $40 million more until you change that culture. So it don't matter, and I'm a Christian, and I don't mind telling that either. And I know better than to get the Bible and politics in the same room. I've learned that. If nothing else. My mother, bless her heart, she was 100 years old till October the 27th. And I know what she would have had me to vote. And I stand for something. And I won't be sitting here 20 years from now. Hopefully I'll be here 30 years from now if I make her age. And saying, I wish I'd have said a little something rather than just sitting back here and say, well, we're not mistreating those people. It's just saying, hey, Governor, if you decide to do this, we're just saying for Big County. And I don't care whether you vote for it or not. I intend to say, yes, when I punch my little, that's the only thing I've got working now is a vote machine. So I don't feel in my heart, I can lay down and go to sleep tonight, and my conscience will not bother me, because my vote kept somebody from coming here, obviously it won't. If the government wants to do anything, face it, folks, they're going to do it regardless. And they're doing a lot of it right now. They're not doing much in certain places, but they're doing a lot of things that I don't agree with. But that's my opinion. I'm an American citizen. I fought for my country, and I have the right, and I pay my taxes, and I have the right as an individual to stand up and say, I don't think that's the right thing to do, or hey, don't put them on my 5 acres of ground. That don't make me less of a Christian, okay? Not in my Bible, and it's the King James if you want to look at it, you know. He's a better Bible, but ain't no good. Anyway, I'm going to
I'm gonna vote for it, even though I understand it probably don't mean nothing in the long haul. And I'm just glad it, but nobody's scored yet on the ball game, so it doesn't make any difference.
Clemson's upset on that. Commissioner Wilson.
I would just like to make a motion, echoing some of the commissioners that have spoke, to withdraw resolution 01-2006.
Can we do that? We already got a motion and a second on the floor. Table. You call for question, we can vote on it, you make a motion to table.
Question. Get it over with.
That trumps everything, call for question.
You gotta vote on the call for question.
Exactly, 'cause
The only call for question is
Mr.
yes.
Mr. Wilson had the floor, hold on, Mr. Bell. Mr. Wilson had the floor prior to Mr. Hendrickson calling for the question. But he calls for question, but would we go back to Mr. Wilson, since he had a motion to, I guess, he made a motion with.
You need to dispose of Mr. Wilson's vote, because he has the floor, so you have a second? I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Berry to withdraw, resolution 1-2006. We've got a motion to withdraw by Commissioner Wilson, second to Berry, with Mr. Berry. Commissioner Wilson.
I really have nothing further to add. There's nothing else I can add to this. I think we all know where we're at and how it stands. That's it.
Commissioner Berry.
Yeah, I would just echo again, I think we've heard that in order for us to actually receive any of these refugees, we would have to vote some point to receive them. Again, I think what we've heard is again, why subject ourselves to a decision that doesn't mean anything. Thank you.
Commissioner Bell.
So we got two motions on the floor.
Oh, we have one motion currently on the floor. It's a motion to withdraw by Commissioner Wilson and a second by Commissioner Berry. That trumps the motion for a second, first and a second. So we'll be voting on a motion to withdraw at the moment.
What about the original motion?
So if a man put a motion
This
to
one fails.
put it back on, that would trump the motion, so we could just keep making motions. Is that how it works? You can amend it, table it. I'm asking you.
Well, the motion to postpone it indefinitely cannot be interrupted. So that's why you have to deal with his motion to postpone it indefinitely before you take that meeting.
So the indefinitely part makes it supersede the original.
Because Robert's Rules of Order says that basically you've made a motion to kill the main motion. That cannot be interrupted, so you gotta deal with that before you deal with anything.
Which Robert's Rules of Order is what this body adopted.
Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Call for the question by Mr. Berry on a motion to withdraw. We'll try to do it by voice vote. All in favor to call for question on the motion, debate on the motion withdraw, say aye. Opposed, like sign. Okay, question's been called, so now we're on the motion to withdraw resolution 1-2006 by Commissioner Wilson, and second by Commissioner Berry. Now we're going to vote on this, and this is the motion to withdraw. This is not the motion voting on whether we support the resolution or not. This is to withdraw the resolution. All in, ready to record the vote?
So yes is the.
Yes to withdraw, no's to, we're back on the resolution. Mr. Hooks. Resolution 12006 by a vote of 8 to 6 has been withdrawn. Moving forward, resolution 12007, a resolution authorizing Roane County to submit a 2020 community development block grant application.